We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on the Miami Dolphins defense versus the Bills offense. I'll be honest, this is a tough game, I think, to evaluate, because the defense was put in a pretty tough spot. Like, they give up five, there was 5 scores in the game. 4 of those were off of turnovers. One of them was just a straight-up defensive touchdown. So they were put in a very difficult spot. But, like, overall, they do need to be better. Like, they, I think, struggled in certain situations. They give too many big running plays. And then on too many key third downs, they, I think, struggled versus the pass. They didn't even really lose to Josh Allen, which was a weird scenario out there. And really, with the state of the team right now, they need to be the ones to carry, not the offense, especially over, at least the next few weeks. We'll see how that whole situation plays out with Tua. But the defense needs to be better, for sure. And we'll see. Like, there were some good things in this game to take away. I thought Jordan Brooks played really well, and I'll have a film breakdown on him tomorrow to focus on him. And I thought Chop Robinson, you got to see the flashes with Chop in this game, which is good too. And it's in a tough matchup, and I'll have a film breakdown on him later today. But I think the negatives, there are lots of those too. And really, I want to go to the secondary. Through the first 2 games, I think, this is a new system, so I don't want to, just throw anyone out. I think you give them some time. I think people will get better. There's problems all across the board at all 3 levels on the defense right now with consistency. I think Ramsey's been one of our worst players, so Ramsey has to play better. And for me, I know he's been injured, so that plays a part. I think Ramsey needs to play a lot more in the nickel, like play as a slot defender, play like near the line of scrimmage. I think he makes more of an impact there at this point of his career. I really do. I think getting him as someone that can blitz, play zone in the middle of the field where we struggled, I think he'll give you more value there. And when you do that, I don't think Cater should bump to the outside. I think it should either be Bonner or Storm Duck or Cam Smith when he comes back from injury to be that outside guy. Because they've been putting Ko out there, and I think he struggled too. So Ko should be put on notice, but still be given a little bit more of a chance to play the nickel. I think the one player that I think has really struggled, and I personally don't think he should be starting already, is Jordan Poyer. I think Jordan Poyer has struggled. He clearly doesn't look as athletic as he used to be. I think he should be the 3rd safety at this point. I would start Marcus May or Elijah Campbell over him. He clearly lacks the burst. Really, I could see him playing down in the box, but he is not the player. I think he is a detriment to the team right now, to be honest. And that sucks, but I really think the team is just too old and slow out there. At least like the linebackers are playing hard and fast. They might have some inconsistent plays, but they're making some plays in the backfield. Here's the first play to look at. We bring our run blitz. It was like a 3rd and short here. We bring our run blitz. We blitz David Long through. Good destruction. Zach Sealer shoots up too. I thought Sealer had a good game across the D-line. He was probably the best defensive lineman out there. Sealer, Long shoot into the backfield. Really, really good stuff. They're trying to work some gap scheme. They're trying to down block. He just times this perfectly with the blitz. Sealer dips underneath. Long shoots through. The puller doesn't have time to get there. They really just destroyed that in the backfield. Would have been a great stop, but they decided to go for it on 4th down. And the Bills just have a beautiful play call. Like, sometimes you just can't stop a perfect play call. Dolphins come out in man-to-man. Bills notice that it's man-to-man with the motion. They see David Long following the running back. And then they bring this motion, loop him around like it's going to be an orbit motion, and then they bring this back across. Very, very difficult. And then they run mesh, and then James Cook leaks out to this side. And David Long has to get all the way across, work through the receivers. He gets tripped up right there, falls to the ground versus the mesh. And that's a touchdown. Even if Long didn't get tripped up, it would have been an easy 1st down. Just the perfect play call against what the Dolphins are running. They just, sometimes you get out-schemed on a play, and that's tough to see. So hopefully we can be better down the line. And, there's definitely, flashes of good defensive play. It wasn't like they were put in tough spots throughout the board. Like, that was after an interception that was dropped by a receiver that first drive, so they had great field position to start. But I think one area that Dolphins have kind of struggled, they get into these 3rd down situations where they have a chance. They only bring 3 here, and the Bills O-line did a really good job stopping them. They were double teaming Jalen Phillips all day, not getting a lot of pressure on Josh Allen. Here they drop into it. They run cover 2. They're running a smash concept to this side of the field. They actually take this away pretty well here. They're running Tampa 2. So Tampa 2 and David Long basically gets isolated on Khalil Shakur, and that's kind of hurt us at those middle of the field plays where our linebackers are in coverage versus slot guy in the Tampa 2 looks, and we just got to be better in those situations to finish I also wouldn't mind, like, if it's an obvious passing situation, if, like, Poyer was this guy. Like, if he was going to play, I think he can play as, like, the Mike in these situations. I feel like he looked so much better as a dime linebacker last year. And then have, like, so, like, in 3 safety sets. This is when I bring out the 3 safety sets. It's, like, in these third down situations where it's longer than 3rd and 3, and it's, like, they're going to pass the ball. I think we should come out in more of, like, that type of look, like a big safety set, and also still have a nickel. So it's more of a dime look, which Dolphins aren't going to run a ton of, but I do think that would be the smart thing to do in those situations, because we gave up too many big third down conversions. They were just converting most of their third downs. This was like one of the few stops we actually had where we held them to a field goal. This is after, another turnover, so they had great field position, unfortunately. So the defense is put in a tough spot. We actually don't get a ton of pressure here, but they covered things up pretty well across the board. We're running quarters. We're matched up nicely here. I thought Fuller had a pretty solid game. I thought he looked much better in this one. Two's running across. They probably could have hit Shakir over the middle, but we're at least in the throwing lane. Brooks matches up there down the slot, and then we're finally able to get hands on Josh Allen late. So it was nice that we were able to stop them, hold them to a field goal. But we do, there was things we definitely need to work on. I mean, first of all, sometimes this is just crazy arm talent that Josh Allen has. Dolphins go a cover 2 across the board. I think, Coe's playing as like this hook defender. He probably could carry this a little bit more. I think Coe needs to carry number 2 just a little bit more and then pass it off and then fall back off the hook. So he can do that if he can carry it just a little bit more, because Josh Allen just lasers this. There's only like a couple QBs that could make this throw, and he lasers it in there. And then they also, Jordan Poyer gets called for a personal foul, which I thought was a pretty weak call because he kind of just whiffed him completely. But yeah, it was another unfortunate thing. I just don't think Poyer looks as explosive out there, and Dolphins have just been giving up way too many throws when we run cover 2, because we've been running a decent amount of like cover 2 looks, or quarter half, or at least playing like cover 2 to one side of the field, which it kind of looks like that here. Like, we are just getting destroyed in the middle right now, especially in those intermediate parts. We struggled to stop the run pretty much throughout the day. This just opens up like a big running lane. I feel like our fits try to, Brooks shoot up this way. I think that's Deshaun Hand cutting across. Sealer wins his battle. Sealer was like the only one who just dominated 73 right there. We're holding up. Chop setting the edge, but it just puts like all this room. Like, he goes across. They just left all this room, and David Long is in a impossible position to make a play. He almost does. He dips around the offensive line, but there's just way too much room up front. People not playing disciplined run fits across the board. It's definitely an issue. This was a huge play. This was one where we could have held them to a long field goal, should have. We try to bring like a different pressure look up front. We drop into, like another, cover 2 type look. We bring different things, like Kohu drops deep, which is interesting. So we're like bringing an inverted 2. We actually get a kind of a look that like, they actually kind of did what I was asking for. Like Poyer drops to be like they run Tampa 2 here. He becomes the Mike. So they actually did what I was asking for earlier. I actually didn't even realize that until right now. But Poyer drops there. Holland and Kohu become the deep defenders. You got Fuller and Ramsey. And then once Josh Allen escapes the pocket, we needed to do a better job containing him. He escapes the pocket, and then Ramsey just kind of, like, once it's scramble drill, like, whoever's in your zone, you just become man-to-man. Ramsey just, like, loses balance on a running back and just falls over, and then the running back gets open, and Josh Allen finds it, like, perfectly timing and executed. And this would have been a huge stop in the game. You can't be letting plays like this happen. So just, like, really poor execution from Ramsey. I don't know. I feel like he kind of got nonchalant there and then lost his balance. I don't know. Maybe the injury is really holding him up. But I feel like the plays out in space, he just hasn't looked as comfortable down the field. Now, this was the big touchdown run. Also, like, you can see Jordan Poyer does not have the juice. Like, James Cook should not score there. Like, if you're the deep safety, you have to take, like, such a horrible angle for James Cook not to score. And he takes a bad angle. But then even then, like, he should be able to adjust and at least get to him around, like, the 10. And he does not. Which, obviously, it's just, I don't think Poyer should be playing deep. If he's out there, he should not be playing deep safety. He does not, like, in coverage versus the run as last man. Like, but this play, it gets lost because of how they set this up. They come out with 6 offensive linemen. This is the 6 lineman and a tight end here. And then they run duo. So they're running duo. And this puts David Long in a very tough spot because for some reason, we have, gap filled here, 96 is going to fill here. but then we also have Jordan Brooks to fill a gap. So we have way too many people. Like there has to be this is either a misalignment or just a bad defensive front call from Weaver. It's tough to say, but like we have more guys to fill over here. Like they have an extra gap because they bring in a 6-0 lineman. And to this side of the field, like how are we supposed to fill this in? Like Fuller has to become a run defender with a fit. Long has to like make multiple plays. Deshaun Hand gets triple teamed. Like what is he supposed to do? 90's taking on 3 people. Quinn Bell's in the edge versus the tight end, but there's just so many extra gaps that they can't fill. And David Long sees like, hey, these guys, no one's filling in here. I got to get over there. And he's trying to work off this. He thinks he's going to anticipate. There's a hole here. There's a hole here. Long decides to take to this side, which he shouldn't have, because Fuller actually ends up coming up and filling this. So then Long takes himself out of the play. So it's a bad play from Long, but he's put in a very difficult spot because usually your outside corners aren't a part of the run fits. Fuller just decided to come in and help out. But that is just a tough spot for people to be in because we have all this extra bodies the other side of the field, and then James Cook just takes off, and then Poyer has literally no juice left in the tank. I'm telling you, like, I feel like this team is just way too old. I feel like, especially if Tua is not going to play the rest of the season, I'm starting to put out young guys pretty quickly. Give those guys a chance to see what they got in the tank. Season's not over yet, but it's week 3. I think we need to be better. And then, yeah, at this point in the game is pretty much over. But I just wanted to show this play because this is another 3rd down conversion and one where I think they, like, you can see this, like Fuller, it kind of gets cut out, but yeah, I forgot I cut it a little too early, but Fuller actually points to Kohu before this play, and Kohu looks at him like, hey, match up on 86. But the Dolphins run cover 3. So then they were being like, hey, Kohu, if this guy works vertical, you got to match him this time. But they actually come out and cover 3, which is a little bit of a different call from the other ones. The other ones were more cover 2, where he was a hook guy. This one, he's a seam flat defender. But when 2 works outside of you like that, you have to find the flat who becomes number 1, so that he carries him. So it's just a miscommunication, because Kohu usually actually does play the flat pretty well. But he decides to carry because he got in, a couple of these plays mistakes. One in this game, one last week where he didn't carry, but it was a cover 2 where he should have carried just a little bit longer. But then Fuller decides to go over the top because he's a deep 3rd defender, and it just leaves the flat wide open, and they convert. I mean, at this point, it didn't matter because the game was over. But I just want to show that because there clearly seems to be some miscommunication going on in the secondary. I think Ramsey would be a better fit in the nickel. I think he looks more comfortable there. I think he's a very good run defender. I think you can bring him on blitzes and stuff. I just feel like he'd be more of a playmaker, and he's not making too many plays on the outside. He doesn't look as comfortable right now, and it could be the injury thing. We actually bring an interesting look up front with the blitzes. Like, we're able to win up front with Long and Jordan Brooks. I like bringing Long and Jordan Brooks on blitzes. It looks like they're getting after the QB. Long and Jordan Brooks need to be more consistent and play with better run fits, but I can at least appreciate like how aggressive they're playing. Like, they're bringing a physicality out there that I think the defense desperately needs. I think the secondary really needs to turn up, and it's pretty much everyone across the board. I think Holland has been like the only one that's been good through 2 games, and Fuller was much better in this one, so I'm not too concerned with those 2, but pretty much everywhere else there's question marks. So we'll see how it ends up playing out. I expect the defense to be better as the season goes on. This was just one of those games that I think was very unfortunate with how it played out game flow wise for the defense. And it is still only the 2nd game within this system, so there's going to be growing pains. But they do need to, I think, take a major step pretty soon because the Dolphins desperately need the defense for them to have a chance to win. So if you guys like the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.